the Radio Troller Entertainment Podcast Channel.
This is Face the Music, a pre-ELO song-by-song podcast. Episode -002, Chinatown. What's that song all about?
Chinatown was recorded on September 1st, 1971 and released as a single on October 1st in England, and an edited version was released in the United States on November 12th, and it was written by Roy Wood. Down on the Bay was the B-side. From a 1971 review of the single,
The Move continued to issue great pop singles long after the announcement that they were to dissolve into the Electric Light Orchestra. Another Roy Wood song with all the clever twists and turns we have come to expect from a man now regarded as a legendary figure on the British music scene. Atmospheric and catchy, this track lays oriental slide guitar against Beatlesque harmonies and will no doubt be yet another hit for The Move.
From the liner notes for Anthology 1966 to 1972,
a whole session was spent recording the gong and drum intro until it was just right, and then it was edited from the US single release.
On December 8, 2014, John Van der Kist wrote in the Roy Wood, The Move, Wizard and Beyond.
Although Carl Wayne had left The Move under less than amicable circumstances, Carl had always remained best of friends with Roy over the years. In an interview some years later with Martin Kinch on Stoke Mandeville Hospital Radio, he said he had always been Roy's greatest fan, and when asked to choose his favorite Move single, he named Chinatown, even though it was one of those records after his departure.
In Chinatown, no Chinese parade would be complete without these Chinese beauties.
Hi, I'm Eric Winsenson.
And I'm Eric Paul Johnson.
And today we're going to get a little action in Chinatown.
Yeah, looking for a good time girl in Chinatown to fill my kink for a certain race.
Yep, I was going to say we've got Roy with a little yellow fever this week.
Wow. Eric Winsenson, make sure you get those emails, complaints right of who said what.
But, on with the song.
Yeah.
So, Move pretty much were Electric Light Orchestra by now. But they still had to do a few things to be Electric Light Orchestra, which is record some singles. And, well, there's not a whole lot left. But this first one, Chinatown, I knew at the time that The Move was what came before Electric Light Orchestra, so of course I was looking out for Move stuff. I'd already found Flowers in the Rain before this. So, the family thrift in Glendale, going through everything. A whole bunch of imports from Italy somebody dumped off there, with the picture sleeve. And so, this is one of those Move songs I have been very, very familiar with forever. And I have always liked this song. Now, I was thinking, I've heard this song so many times, do I really need to listen to it today? And the answer was yes. Because some things I never noticed on here that make the song even better. Now, of course, the production on the guitars I've always noticed. Those acoustic guitars that just come in. And also some little whizzits and stuff in there. They throw in the faux Chinese music, which is a little bit cringy these days. And some of the lyrics are a little bit, hey, yeah, maybe this probably wouldn't fly as a song today. It would get a lot of attention for the wrong reasons. Probably actually do better on the charts because of it than this did.
Maybe.
Back in the, even though I think they butchered the version they released here in the U.S.
They did. They spent a lot of time making sure they got that gong and opening drums right. and cut it right off of the American single release.
I've never heard the American version.
No, neither have I.
But yeah, that would... Oh boy. The drum part is one of the actual parts that really, really like, is all of a sudden those Bev and drums come in with the ELO echo already applied to them.
Yeah.
And they just lead right into the song, and it's a nice little snappy song. But what I really like best about it, I think this is the only song where we get Jeff Lynne and Roy Wood both on vocals.
Nope, it's not.
It's not?
No.
What other song?
Okay, I did not know this until after we had finished recording the episode and I saw the video on YouTube. Jeff and Roy trade off lead on Tonight.
Oh, okay.
And then when I see the video, it's and right in the head, it's like, how could you not notice that? How did you have to wait to see the video before you finally heard it? Because then I listened to it, it's like, oh, of course.
If you have so bright, you plan your life ahead. Instead of waiting till you roll in your bed, I'll be over tonight.
That's right.
I didn't notice it on Tonight.
That's
on this
Jeff.
one, it's very obvious.
It's very obvious.
Maybe I'll drink your jasmine tea, then I'll hurry home. Surely you know the likes of me should be left alone.
California Man, they switch off too.
Oh, okay. I always thought California Man was all Roy Wood, but probably because I've heard the Cheap Trick version so many times too that...
Well, it's the same thing with this song. You know, I first heard it in 1985 when I got Split Ends. And then when a friend gave me that Roy Wood compilation CD for Christmas 1989, listen, it's on that. And I heard that a lot. And just because Roy Wood is the first one who sings the first few verses, I turned my mind off and it's a Roy Wood song. And then this week, when I actually had to pay attention to it, it's like, oh, okay. Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne sings huge chunks of this song. So,
yeah, sings second verse and good portion of the ending part.
Mm-hmm.
They trade off vocals on the last part of the chorus as the song goes out. God, I wish there was so much more of this on their albums. I mean, I know they didn't want to be a big pop group and everything, but I hate to say it, that was probably their calling. I mean, they wanted to do these big, huge, epic songs, but sometimes they just didn't work.
Yeah.
But when they cut it down to this and a lot of stuff on Message from the Country, it just shows how good they actually were as musicians and how this should have worked. Yeah, I still can't believe Do Ya even got a little bit of traction here, because by then they weren't carrying at all whether or not anybody bought it. They were just trying to fulfill a contract, but for their contractual obligation, they're doing better than they were when actually trying to create. And I think it was probably Electric Light Orchestra probably kicked their creative juices into flowing. And we got some good move singles at the end. And this one, yeah, actually probably one of my favorite songs out of the 70s, to tell you the truth. It's actually really up there. Might be biased because of how long I've had the single and how often I've heard it.
Right. Yeah. If you heard on a recent Derek versus Eric episode, this podcast is coming to an end when we finish up with the move. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to about not doing the ELO podcast anymore is trying to sift through my brain and stretch my gourd to figure out what am I going to say about songs that I really like. This song is perfect. I love the upfront acoustic guitars. Those sound great. Jeff's voice. I wish he had used this voice on The Minister. Then I would have liked The Minister a lot. Leave off the Roy Wood wins, but if Jeff used this voice on The Minister, it would have been another perfect song. Love the Wizards, some little simulated Chinese music bits. I'm not a Disney person, but I think they throw in a quick blast of that Siamese song from one of their cartoons.
We are Siamese, if you please.
I have no doubt that the move never saw, I don't know, the Aristocrats, Three Dogs and a Lady, or whatever it was that song is from, since they had no idea what the Wizard of Oz was. It's probably some sort of ancient Chinese melody that they cribbed to throw it in there to really give it that Chinese feel. I'm glad you noticed it too, because I just wondered if I'm being a liberal. We're like trained to find the racism in things where they might not exist. Even though I think cultural appropriation is a lot of bullcrap, my even liberaler friends than me, they won't hesitate to shout, cultural appropriation, which is stupid.
Called sharing. It's how cultures actually begin and exist.
Exactly. Everybody borrows from everybody's culture. You white liberals screaming cultural appropriation while listening to your rock music. Where do you think all these white people got that rock music from? Elvis and Buddy Holly didn't invent rock. It came from black people. Rock music, it came from blues. Jump blues, which was an offspring of jazz. Jazz is an offspring of blues. Came from country, which if you go back far enough, country came from blues. I think the only music that white people can take credit for is classical and polka.
Jazz also comes from ragtime, which was black, I should actually say African-American, because it came from America. African-American take on classical music.
Right.
On the cakewalk. That got appropriated by white people later on, but it was also a very racist thing.
Yeah. So if you really want to abide by your cultural appropriation outrage about things, you got to start listening to Mozart and Lawrence Welk.
Oh, most classical music took from ethnic folk.
Oh, well, there you go.
So it was appropriating ethnic folk music, a lot of it. Usually from wherever they came from, but then they did it from other countries too, yeah. Bizet's Carmen is a French guy writing about a Spanish prostitute and her lover.
There you go. See, everybody borrows from everybody. It's okay. Unless you're using it to mock the culture that you're appropriating, then there's issues.
Right, which that's where this gets a little bit tap dancing on the border there.
Yeah.
And tap dancing would be appropriation as well.
That's right, yeah. You got 3 white guys, first of all, from England, singing about wanting to find a good time girl in Chinatown. I'm guessing they're not looking for someone to get together to play mahjong with.
No.
They got pagodas and dragon kites and other things that, I'm sure at the time, when they were doing commercials with a Chinese guy running a laundromat about how he gets clothes so clean, that they really didn't think much about this. But now, much like that commercial, well, actually, that commercial is worse than what was done in this song. At least they didn't say the girl was there to iron the clothes and keep them clean. But I love the song. Guitars, Jeff's voice, little touches of Chinese music, or at least Asian music.
Chinese.
It's a good song.
I kind of looked up things to make sure they weren't mixing cultures too much.
Okay.
It looks like they opened up Encyclopedia Britannia.
Yeah.
Went, China. What's in China? Other than chow mein. Oh, no, that's only in the United States. What?
And it was an American invention.
What's actually in China?
Yeah.
See, when you get into appropriation, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the Chinese people Americanized their food so that the Americans would eat it because the Chinese had moved here to America.
Exactly. Plus,
Yeah.
they couldn't find the same stuff. The thing is that you also have to look at intent.
Yes, that too, absolutely.
Yeah. The most offensive thing out of the song is they're looking for a prostitute. The second thing,
Yes.
the least offensive is all the Asian imagery because they're not doing it to mock it. They're all, hey, let's just throw this in the song. There is no intent to mock, no intent to put it down.
No.
It's just kind of clueless.
And I never picked up any kind of vibe that Bevan, Jeff, or Rory were racist.
No, none of that in this song. Just a lot of stereotypes. But like I said, intent, you have to understand intent from the time, too. There wouldn't have been any intent to put it down the culture. Kind of silly young men.
Yes, pretty much.
Got something to say about Chinatown? Well, call the telephone line voicemail.
623-850-3375. Call now.
I like Chinese.
We'll be back in a moment, right after this station break.
Back to the podcast.
Was it a hit or was it? Chinatown was released as a single with Down on the Bay as the B-side in October 1971 on Harvest Records in the UK and United Artists in the United States. It debuted on the British charts on October 23, 1971, spent 8 weeks on the chart, and got up to number 23. It fell off the chart on December 11, 1971.
Well, hello, long time no hear from. This is Dr. Troy. I've received thousands of requests, but I'm back anyway. I just got over pneumonia, and before that, I had 3 sinus infections, 1 a month for 3 months, which is unusual, and then I had trouble getting into my MeWe account, and that's where I find what the song's going to be for the... But anyway, I'm back, and here are my thoughts on Chinatown. I like this song. It reminds me of an early 70s George Harrison song, especially with the slide guitar. That slide guitar is the highlight of the song for me, and even though I sincerely doubt that George Harrison played on this song, it certainly sounds like George. Kudos to the slide guitar player. And again, it just shows, as I've said before, the Move were able to do any style of music and do it well. And I love the way they effortlessly shifted between different styles. I hope I'll be back next week, but it's good to be back for now. Talk to you later.
Face the Music, a pre-ELO song-by-song podcast, is a production of Radio Trolla Entertainment Assorted Deli Meats Amalgamated. You can contact us by voicemail at 623-850-3375 or email us at eloftmpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read and reply to it on the show. Keep up to date by joining our Facebook group and spread the word by sharing the link or giving us a quick rating on iTunes. Subscribe to our YouTube page, the Electric Light Orchestra Podcast channel, to hear other goodies. You can financially support the podcast at patreon.com/ELOpod or PayPal using the podcast's email address, or send a check or money order to P.O. Box 1932, Superior, Arizona 85173. Next episode, -001, Down on the Bay.
REPC, the Radio Trolla Entertainment Podcast channel.